So, as promised, I'm going to do a video covering my winter rifle. Many of you are actually familiar with this rifle that I've dubbed Sir Drips-A-Lot. But what a lot of you may not know is the reason why I built this rifle to begin with. It is not just because I wanted another 5.56 AR or that I wanted one with a 16-inch barrel, but I actually wanted to build a cold weather rifle. The RDB is fantastic most of the year until I put on heavy gloves. The controls, unfortunately, don't seem to really have been designed with heavy, thick winter gloves in mind. So when I built this rifle, I designed it with cold weather gear, inclement weather gear in mind. So I also designed this to be quite a bit lighter than the RDB or my long-range precision AR-15, which clocks in at around 15 pounds. You can see there's a little bit of artwork here, courtesy of My Southern Tactical. And, I mean, the paint job, this is more Cerakoting by yours truly. And, well, I was inspired by Cry Precision's April Fool's post with the Miami Vice Tiger stripe and tried to duplicate the effect, and that didn't come out 100% the way I wanted it to, but still a head turner nonetheless. So, one of the first things I did with this was to install this Timber Creek Oversized trigger guard. I can get my big, thick, waterproof winter ski gloves in here, no problem. The ambidextrous safety lever, this is a 45-degree throw, and as you can see, actually, it's pretty tall. And just a few weeks ago, when I was out in the colder weather, colder than it has been, with my light cold weather gloves on, I had no trouble manipulating the safety lever. When I picked up my RDB, I had trouble sometimes locating the safety lever. So this safety lever was chosen, one, because it's a 45-degree throw, and this is made by UTG Leapers. And second, because of its tall profile, being easy to manipulate with gloves on. This is a gas piston upper. It's a CMMG, which is a short stroke gas piston. It's a very simple to operate gas piston. It has two settings, suppressed and not suppressed. I chose that because I wanted to stick with the same cartridge, but knowing that direct impingement has problems in the cold, I wanted something gas piston, and I got a really good deal on this gas piston upper. I replaced the drop-in handguard with a UTG M-lock rail with a pick rail on top that sits right into the delta ring. It's not the most stable of platforms, but joining it to the upper receiver with the optic has actually increased that stability quite a bit. Speaking of optics, this is a Primary Arms MD25 with the ACSS CQB reticle. I love this reticle. It's fantastic. This magnifier is a Holosum 3X. It's on loan. It's less than optimal for this particular red dot, but this was for me to try out the principle. I've not yet been to the range with it, just been doing dry fire around the house. I like it. I would like it more if it worked better. Now, UTG, which company I've mentioned several times now, does actually make a 25mm objective magnifier in 3X. for about 80 bucks. And something I've noticed too is you do want to try to get close to matching the objective sizes between your red dot and your magnifier, so that you don't get fishbowling. But the entire reason I even decided to try this is because when I was shooting off the bench at 100 yards, I couldn't quite tell where the center bullseye was anymore, with, or at least on the targets that I was using, with just a red dot. So I'm going to try it with some magnification. Of course, you can see also I've got some M-Bus backup irons, and I use a Blitzkrieg Components chevron front post. This one has luminescent paint as well as a tritium lamp. It's an expensive little toy for what it is, but it absolutely works. And there have been no modifications to the rear sight. The stock is an MFT minimalist stock. The buffer tube, I'll have to look up who makes this, but it's a fluted buffer tube. So a little bit of weight savings there. It actually mates up. I've got minimal stock wobble with this MFT. Another thing I like about this stock is that it has these cheek weld extensions, and it just so happens that the observation hole for pushing in the set pin lines up with the numbers for the positions on the buffer tube. So I know exactly where I need to adjust it out to for either running with or without my plate carrier. So if I had to mortar it in the cold, I would of course retract the stock, mortar it, and then I would know very quickly where to set it to just by looking through the observation hole. It's a very nice feature in my opinion. I haven't done an exact weight, but I think I came in at around 6.5 pounds before adding the magnifier. This is a very light optic. It's like 6 ounces, 6.5 ounces, runs on a 2032 battery, 50,000 hour battery life, and it does have a timer on it. So if it's not being used after like 2 minutes of not moving, it shuts off, and then you can bump it awake. Very nice feature. Some people complain about this knob being on the side. I haven't noticed an issue with it yet. And then the one last feature I put on here is the Yankee Hill machining. This is a barrier stop / hand stop, and that's what I use to grip the front of the rifle, because you need to either be in front of the gas block or behind it. If you grab it here, oh boy, your hands are gonna get real toasty, real fast. Nothing special about the trigger. It's just a PSA mil-spec trigger, which I actually prefer a mil-spec trigger to any of the fancy trigger packs that are on the market. So, this has been a quick rundown of my winter rifle. And as always, remember that your mission specifications might require slightly different equipment. Aloha, and be excellent to each other.